Hello and welcome to the build-up from RamsTV. This is the show that gives you everything you need to know before the big game kicks off. We have a relegation six-pointer for you this afternoon. We're heading to South Wales for Cardiff City against Derby County. After a run of 6 games against sides in the top half of the Championship table, the Rams go up against a team just a single point and a single place above them in the standings. And they're looking to do the double over Cardiff following September's victory over the Bluebirds at Pride Park. Derby have only won 4 games since that day. The Rams also yet to win in 2025, while Cardiff are yet to lose this year. They're unbeaten in 6, their best run of the season, including Tuesday's draw at Millwall that saw them battle back from 2-0 down with an equaliser with the final kick of the game, and last weekend's 3-0 win over rival Swansea that saw Callum Robinson score twice to reach double figures for the campaign. Omar Riza is the man in charge in South Wales these days, given the job till the end of the campaign after Errol Bullitt was sacked in the autumn. Riza's hoping that Ollie Tanner, Alex Robertson and Callum O'Dowda will all be available after missing in the week. Derby should welcome back Erin Cashin after he was left out as a precaution against Sunderland, but neither Kane Wilson or DeJean Brown will be involved after picking up hamstring injuries on Tuesday night. And the stakes for this game changed ever so slightly last night as Derby slipped into the relegation zone for the first time this season. Sheffield United missed the chance to go top as they lost 3-0 at home to Hull. It still leads in front, Burnley and Sunderland trying to chase down the top 2. There are 5 teams within 4 points of that final playoff spot. Hull's win last night takes them to 18th. Cardiff could join Derby in the bottom 3 by kick-off with Luton in action this lunchtime. 6 teams separated by 3 points at the bottom of the table. Which is why today's trip to Cardiff feels absolutely massive for both teams. And unfortunately, Paul Warne has more injury worries coming into this one. Here's the Derby boss.
There's no chance I foresee Kane and Dej both got hamstring injuries, both sore, both awaiting results on their scans, so that I'd be amazed if one or either make it. So those 2 will be missing. I don't think I've got any other injuries, but I'll find out in the next 20 minutes.
We've heard good news about Ryan Amby, David Ozo recently. Are either of them close to being involved?
Yeah, I think both are very close to be included in the squad this weekend. So that's really positive. We'll see how they train today. The early signs are really good.
I wanted to check on sort of the energy levels generally, because it was a massive effort on Tuesday night, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, and unfortunately, because I didn't think the lads got the elusive goal that their play, especially in the second half, deserved. The energy levels, like, and I'm being honest, maybe I'm too honest in my interviews, but physically, I think they'll be okay. Psychologically, they're going to need a bit of a TLC, I think, because they're obviously on the run of bad results, and you don't want to start thinking that, there's a destiny or something crazy. You need to snap out of it. So we've got some really good stuff to show them today. We've got some stuff where I think we could have been a bit braver in the first 25 minutes, but I also, given it some more thought after a couple of sleeps, that I do understand the lads that's not very good English, but the lads' unintentional, possibly, mentality to thinking, we've got a different back 3, we don't normally play with a 3, especially not them 3, although I thought they were excellent. They looked the calmest cucumbers in the house, really. So I just thought going forward we weren't as aggressive as I would like. So there is some energy levels, but it's always the way on a Thursday. It always starts like this, and then by the close of play today they'll all be back to fighting fit, and then they'll look forward to seeing what the team is tomorrow, and then the challenge ahead. And that's how you just got to see it. You just got to try and forget. In the same way, if you've won 6 on the spin, you can't go into the 7th game thinking you've got it cracked and high-fiving everybody on the way in because you're going to win this 3-0. Football's never like that. So you just have to not forget form. I don't mean it like that, but you just have to, re-engage to the game when the whistle goes.
We know the run of form that you're on. We've talked about that. The two teams that you've played already this week, I think, are both in the top 8. I think, in fact, everyone you played over this recent run have been in the top 10 or so. Is it actually games like Saturday, the game coming up against Cardiff, that will really define your season, though?
I mean, it's a big question, isn't it? And it's a true question. I understand that, and I don't want to say, oh, it's like a 28-pointer. Everyone goes a 6-pointer, and then a 9-pointer, and then a 12-pointer. But you're right. I do honestly think, though, there isn't a great deal between any of the teams. I don't feel like I've got massive respect for Sunderland, and I don't think that they were significantly better than us. You do have to beat the teams in and around you. That is obvious. I do agree with that. But I do think what I'm trying to say is, I don't think it's easier or harder opposition down at Sunderland or a Watford away or whatever the case may be. It's just a different opposition, and they will see this game as a game that they will pen down as a wanting home win as well. So I think it will be two teams not desperate for a win, but needing of a win and wanting another win. And both teams have got, new players in their squad. So it will make it an interesting game. But it is a game that obviously that we have earmarked to, we want to come away with 3 points. But then we have with every game in the last 6. So it is an important game, and we have played top teams, and I think we have competed really well in large parts of it. But I've said this a few times now that it's the 95 minutes, and unfortunately for us the other night, we didn't perform at our best for 95.
Derby boss Paul Warne there. Well, today's opponents, Cardiff, currently on their best run of the season. 6 unbeaten in the league now after Tuesday's draw at Millwall. Their boss is Omar Riza.
Yeah, I thought we were slightly off the Millwall game the first half. Whether it was due to the changes, whether it was due to just the whole emotion of the Saturday against Swansea. Or going to Millwall on a Tuesday night off the back of that Saturday, we didn't do the things that we're doing really well, which is win our battles, work hard, first and second balls, make it really difficult for the opposition, and we didn't do that. So there'll be the things we're looking to make sure we don't get wrong early on in the game against Derby, because I think early on is where you can make or break you, and for us, we to come back 2-2 from 2-0 down at Millwall, I think it just shows credit to the boys, but we can't do that every week, because if you do that, you there's not many times you're going to come back from that. We'll be going into the Derby game confident. We'll be going into the Derby game with energy and aggression, and hopefully a win.
And they are now in amongst it as well, alongside yourselves at the wrong end of the table. I think I wrote it down. 6 clubs separated by 3 points. When the table is that tight, how key are these matches against rival teams around you, do you think?
Yeah, it's really, really important, and it's probably where we've not done too well. If you look at Oxford and you look at Preston now, they've gone up slightly, but Oxford, they've gone up slightly as well. QPR. We have to make sure that we get that right, and the boys know how important it is. We know how important it is, and I'm sure come Saturday we'll be ready to go.
You mentioned QPR. That you go back 3-4 months, they're in dire straits, and now they're looking at the other end of the table. Are they sort of a bit of an inspiration? If you keep this going, what can be achieved?
I wouldn't say inspiration. It's the nature of this league, the nature of football. If you win 2 or 3 games back to back, the momentum that you get from it, and the confidence levels that grows from it, and just how tight the league is, it can push you and elevate you 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spaces. So we need to do that now. I think we've got ourselves in a better position than we were in, but still very tight, too tight for my liking. And hopefully now we can keep our run going and push forwards.
Certainly the table is looking a lot better for you guys than it was even like a month ago.
Yeah, it is. I try not to look at the table too much. To be honest with you, I think if you win games, or you don't lose games, then hopefully you'll start heading in the right direction. But yeah, it's certainly better than where we were at. Again, when I first took over, we was on 1 point, and I think we're on 28. We're on 28 now, so okay, we could potentially be on 36, 38 if we'd taken the games that we should have done. So, but we're heading in the right direction. The boys are in a good place, and hopefully with a couple of additions as well, we'll be even stronger for it.
Omar Riza, the Cardiff boss there. It really is a crucial day for the teams towards the bottom of the Championship. Second bottom, Luton host Millwall in one of the lunchtime games, while Oxford go to Stoke, who themselves are just above the bottom three. Later, Plymouth go to Sunderland. Plymouth lost Morgan Whittaker last night, sold to Middlesbrough, while Portsmouth visit West Brom. The big game at the top this weekend comes on Monday night as Burnley face the leaders, Leeds. Now, Craig Forsyth has been through all the highs and lows with Derby County over the last decade or so. He was thrust into the heart of a makeshift back three for the defeat to Sunderland on Tuesday night. We've been catching up with Foz.
Disappointing, obviously, the result. I think second half performance, definitely positive signs, and we definitely took the game to a team at the top of the league, and that's the way it should be at home. But ultimately we've came away with nothing, but there's certainly some positives in the second half to build on.
A few eyebrows when the team sheet came out. Sean Barker and I were having a discussion on air about whether you're a recognised centre-back these days or not. Would you like to weigh in on that conversation?
I don't. We've had this conversation before, and I've said the same thing before. I'm happy to play in either position. I think obviously as I get older, the legs feel it a little bit easier in central areas, but as I've said before, I'm happy to play anywhere.
The back three, I don't think anybody expected, with Callum the one side and Ibu Adams the other. Was there a bit of extra pressure, onus on you to keep that together?
Probably a little bit more organisationally with two players that probably not so familiar playing in there, but I think they both were very good and very aware of the positionally, so I think we did all right, but it's probably a little bit more and being vocal and organising, the three of us.
How encouraged were you by that spell in the second half in particular, when the crowd really got into it and you seemed to take it to Sunderland for a little while?
Yeah, I think that's what we've got to try and build on, was the momentum that we were building, and we had 4 or 5 corners in a row. Lars has had 2 good headers and chances, and it's just not falling for us, and the crowd reacted to that, and that's the way it has to be. We have to give the crowd something to feed off as well, and obviously they're back, and then we feed off that as well. So it was a good spell, but ultimately we just didn't find that final touch, and that's what's evading us just now.
How is Lars settling in? Nice to have a new face around the group?
Yeah, it's always good to have a fresh face in. Speaks very good English. Settled in really well, so yeah.
I wanted to ask you about Curtis Nelson, because obviously you've been in his shoes a couple of times, unfortunately, and he's a massive part of the leadership group in the room alongside yourself. I'm sure you've spoken to him. How's he doing? Yeah,
he seems all right just now. I think he's a very level-headed and sensible guy, so he's probably taken his minute and thought about it and realised what it is and what he's got to do now to get himself back on the pitch, and he realises it's going to be a long road, and there's various stages you go through, but I think he's mentally strong, his body is as strong as he's shown playing whatever it is, 60, 70 games in a row since he signed, so I'm sure he'll be fine.
Will you miss him as a character around the place as much as you'll obviously miss him out on the field?
Yeah, definitely. I think he's as you say, he's one of the leaders in the dressing room, so to have that voice missing is obviously going to be disappointing for us, but it also gives other people opportunities to step into that role and take more ownership and more leadership and sort of step up to the plate a little bit.
When a teammate gets news like that, is there a bit of you that is sort of thrown back to when you've been on the end of that sort of conversation?
I was sort of I went in after the game to see him, and he was on the machine and he was speaking to John, the physio, and I kind of had an inclination from John's words and
the way he was saying it, that there may be something more severe than.
Sounded a bit too familiar.
Yeah, but obviously they hadn't had the scan yet, so there was no confirmation of it or anything like that. So yeah, it did sort of take me back a little bit, but I'm sure Nelson will come through at the other side.
You played some very important games for Derby through the years. With the run you're on at the moment, is Saturday about as important as you can remember for a while?
Yeah, definitely. In recent times, I think there's no hiding away from it. We were struggling for form, and we just need something to stop that sort of, not rot essentially, but turn the tide. And we've got to get back to putting points on the board, and that's what we'll be looking to do.
And that's Craig Forsyth, and this has been the build-up. If your nerves can take it, you can watch today's game, Cardiff City against Derby County, on RamsTV. We're available to everyone outside the UK, so get your Game Pass now at dcfc.co.uk. We'll be back with Matchday Live from 2:30. See you then. Goodbye.